Part 1. A Definition and a Difficulty. Chapter 1. What is Divine Providence? The reason this book is about the providence of God rather than the sovereignty of God is that the term sovereignty does not contain the idea of purposeful action, but the term providence does. Sovereignty focuses on God's right and power to do all that he wills, but in itself, it does not express any design or goal. Of course, God's sovereignty is purposeful. It does have design. It does pursue a goal. But we know this not simply because God is sovereign, but because he is wise, and because the Bible portrays him as having purposes in all he does. My counsel shall stand, and I will accomplish all my purpose. Isaiah chapter 46, verse 10. The focus of this book is on God's sovereignty considered not simply as powerful, but as purposeful. Historically, the term providence has been used as shorthand for this more specific focus. The building blocks of providence. Why was the English word providence chosen to capture this biblical teaching? In reference to God, the word does not occur in most English versions of the Bible. For example, ESV, KJV, HCSB, NRSV. It is difficult to be certain about the history of a word and why it came to carry its present meaning. But here is a suggestion. The word providence is built from the word provide, which has two parts: pro, Latin forward, on behalf of, and vide, Latin to see. So you might think that the word provide would mean to see forward or to foresee, but it doesn't. It means to supply what is needed, to give sustenance or support. So in reference to God, the noun providence has come to mean the act of purposefully providing for or sustaining and governing the world. Why is this? There are two interesting reasons, one based on an English idiom and the other based on a biblical story. God sees to it. We have an English idiom that goes like this: I'll see to it. Like all idioms, it means more than the words taken individually seem to signify. I'll see to it in English means I'll take care of it, which is itself an idiom. I'll provide for it. I'll see or make sure that it happens. So it could be that putting the Latin vide, see, together with the Latin pro, to, toward, produced see to, and came to mean more than foresee, but to mean see to it in the sense of take care of it, or see that it happens. That would be what we mean by God's providence. He sees to it that things happen in a certain way. Providence on Mount Moriah. Then, even more interestingly, there is the biblical story of Abraham's offering of his son Isaac. Before they went up Mount Moriah, Isaac said to his father, "Where is the lamb for a burnt offering?" Genesis chapter 22, verse 7. Abraham answered, "God will provide for himself the lamb for a burnt offering, my son." Chapter 22, verse 8. And when God had shown Abraham a ram caught in the thorns, Abraham called the name of that place, "The Lord will provide." Chapter 22, verse 14. What is striking is that whenever the word provide occurs in Genesis chapter 22, the Hebrew word is simply to see. Very simply, Abraham says to Isaac, God will see for himself the lamb. Similarly, in verse 14, the Lord will provide, the Lord will see. As it is said to this day, on the mount of the Lord it shall be provided, it shall be seen. The Old King James Version preserves this literal rendering of Genesis chapter 22, verse 14, even transliterating the Hebrew of the Lord sees as Jehovah Jireh.
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.